नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. We are reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 10, chapter number 1, verse number 1. So in the previous chapter we studied about descendants of King Yadu, various branches. Then we studied about Krishna and his activities. So here in this beginning of this chapter, King, he asked question to Sukadeva Goswami because he wants to hear more about Krishna in detail. Already 4 days have passed and he has 3 more days to live. So now he just wants to hear about Krishna. Enough of hearing so much about so many kings. So therefore in this chapter we have question posed by Parikshit Maharaj, then description of earth being burdened, going to Brahma, and then Vishnu ordering Devatas to take birth on earth, marriage of Vasudeva Devaki, and then the killing of 6 sons from Devaki. So that will come here. So Sri Raja Uvacha. So King said. So he is called here as Sri because he has the wealth of devotion, and although he is no more king because he already gave up his kingdom to his son Janmeja, but sometimes you use the title which you had before, right? Bhutpurva. So he is the king who is no more king now, but he can be called king of his senses, his body, because he is having control over them. He is fasting and listening to Krishna Katha. So he said, Kathito vansha vistaro bhavata soma suryayoho ragyam chaubhay vanshanam charitam paramadbhutam. So first he is just repeating what he has heard. It's not a question, but in a way he is appreciating his teacher Sri Sukadeva Goswami. He says that you have in great detail described the dynasty of Soma and Surya, the moon and the sun, and Ragyam cha ubhay vanshanam, and also Charitam, the life or the history, behavior, conduct of the kings who have appeared in these 2 dynasties. And this Charitam Paramadbhutam, which was very wondrous, amazing. The stories, some of the stories are very amazing. Right? We heard the story of King Yayati, how he became old and he became young, he became old again. We heard the story of Drishyashringa, how he was enticed by the prostitute to bring him to the kingdom of Romapada. We heard story of Kartavirya Arjun, who ruled for 84,000 years. So many stories we heard. Stories of Bharata, who did so many yagyas that nobody has done that. How many he did? 154. 54 or 40? No, more. I think so. Something like 55 on the bank of Ganga, another 78 or something in Yamuna, or vice whichever. And it was more than that. Anyway, so many Aswamedh Yajna, it's quite amazing thing. So therefore he says, Charitam Paramadbhutam Bhavata Kathita, that you have described all this amazing history of the kings who have appeared in this dynasty. So we are going to read the commentary of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur as we have been doing. So on this 10th canto, although Mangalacharan was done in the very beginning, but all commentators, they do special Mangalacharan at the beginning of 10th canto, and they write, because 10th canto is very special. This is compared to the face of Krishna, and this is the very essence here. So therefore he has got how many? 23? 23 slokas of invocation here, as if he's just starting. He did not have that many in the beginning of the book also. So let's read that. So this is Sarartha Darshini. Nityanandaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Chandraha Advaitaha Prithvamedhayan Prema Sindhum Tapta Stambam Stemayanschetayanmam Dhinman Bhuyat Svai Kriparasmileshai. So he says that Sri Krishna Chaitanya Chandra, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda and Sri Advaitacharya Prithvyam Edhyan Prema Sindhu. So they spread the ocean of love on earth. And Tapta Stambam, another reading is Santaptam, different reading, whatever is, doesn't matter. Stemians Chetian Mam Dhinvan Bhuyat Svai Kripa Rasmileshai. So he is comparing himself to like a dried up grass or somebody who is suffering. So he says, may they exist here, giving the fraction of their kripa on me and thus bringing me to life, who is completely burnt up in this material world. Śrīmad-Gadādhar Namo Nirhare Namaste Shri Ramaya Namah Eva Namah Swarupa Shri Rupa Sanuga Namostu Namostu Tubhyam Srimad Sanatan Namostu Namo Namostu. I bow down to Sri Gadadhar Pandit, Sri Narhari Sarkar, Sri Ramananda Rai, Sri Sarup Damodar, Sri Rup Goswami and his followers. My obeisances to them, and my obeisances again and again to Sri Sanatan Goswami. So he specifically praised to Sanatan Goswami because Sanatan Goswami, he wrote commentary on the 10th canto called Dasam Tippani, also called Vaishnav Toshni. So originally the name was Vaishnav Toshni. Then after writing he gave it to Jiva Goswami to edit. So Jiva Goswami edited it. So he shortened it in some places. Therefore he changed the name. He called his commentary as Laghu Vaishnav Toshni and Sanatan Goswami as Brihad Vaishnav Toshni. So therefore you have two Vaishnav Toshnis. And there is a lot of similarity because in many places you see they are almost same. But many places Jiva Goswami changes it or sometimes he even expands it, so it's really not that laghu. Like when you see Bhāgavatamrita, so Sanatana Goswami wrote Bhāgavatamrita, then Rupa Goswami wrote also Bhāgavatamrita, then it became Laghu Bhāgavatamrita, and Sanatana Goswami became Brihad Bhāgavatamrita. But Brihad Bhāgavatamrita is actually Brihad and Laghu is actually Laghu if you compare them in size. But this is not true with Laghu Vaishnava Toshni and Brihad Vaishnava Toshni. They are quite comparable. So he specifically praised to Sanatana Goswami because the style which you see, whether it is Jiva Goswami writing or Sanatana Vishwanath Chakravarti or Baldev Vidyabhushan also wrote commentary on this, although everything is not available. So then you see that they all draw from Sanatana Goswami. Before Sanatana Goswami, the commentaries, of course, is Sridhar Swami's commentary, but on 10th Canto it is not elaborate. So these are the ones who give the detailed explanation. Probably the first one to write very detailed commentary is Vallabhacharya. He wrote before Sanatana Goswami. So Sanatana Goswami surely has read his commentary, because at least in one or two places he makes a mention of it or refers to him. And although Sanatana Goswami's commentary is much different than Baldev Vidyabhushan, but a trend started in this 16th century of writing very elaborate explanations on 10th Canto. The commentaries before that were not like that. Whether you see, primarily you have Madhvacharya commentary, which is just a very small gloss, and Sridhar Swami is there, but he does not go into that kind of explanations related with the Ras Shastra primarily. And other commentaries which were available are not to be seen now, like Chit Sukhi or Sukhi Hridaya. Many other commentaries were there. Jiva Goswami mentions about 15 of them, Paramhans Priya, etc. Not to be found. So that shows that these commentaries became so prominent that others were forgotten. Only Sridhar Swami survived because he was very much respected by Gaudiya Vaishnavas. So when Sanatana Goswami or Jiva Goswami they write, they all accept Sridhar Swami, and as we have seen when we are reading the 29th chapter commentaries, they always refer to him, although he is not writing much, but they make mention. And this is the style of Jiva Goswami in Kram Sandarbha in general. So that's why Kram Sandarbha has to be studied with Sridhari's Bhavartha Deepika, Sridhar Swami, because he does not repeat. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, although he also draws from Sridhar Swami, but his commentary is independent in the sense that you can study it independently. So whatever Sridhar Swami writes, and if Vishwanath agrees with that and wants it, he writes it himself in his commentary. Either sometimes exactly the same words or in a different way. But Jiva Goswami does not do that. So that means you have to read that, and then if Jiva Goswami has something extra to say, then he writes. But Vishwanath is something like he subsumes the commentary of Sridhar Swami. So that's why I'm reading Vishwanath Chakravarti in the previous 9 cantos, because then we don't have to read Sridhar Swami. Because whatever is in Sridhar Swami's commentary then becomes available in Sarartha Darshani. So here he now specifically prays to Sanatana Goswami in the next sloka. Śrīmad-Bhāgavati ad-divya dasam skandhamritam bho nidhau खेलन्यस्व करोद्धृतैरस्कणैराद्रांस तटस्थानपि चक्रे यस्य महत्त्वमीलितमः श्रीरूपविख्यापितैः सर्वैः दृश्यते एव नाटकवरे साश्चर्यम् एतद् यथा. So this is referring to the Dasam Tippani or Vaishnava Toshni of Sanatana Goswami. So Divya Dasama Skandha Amritambho Nidhau. So the commentary on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam on the 10th Canto, divine commentary, which is like the ocean of nectar. Khelanyasva karodhrutai. He played in that, and then lifting some drops with his own hand, he made the living beings to drink it. Tatasthanaphi. And Chakrayasya Mahatva Milit Maha Sri Rupa Vikhyapitai. And his glories were described by Sri Rupa Goswami in his two plays, Lalit Madhav and Vidagdha Madhava. Sāścharyam etad yatha, which is very wonderful and can be seen by all. Sarvai drishyate. Vaktum paramhansa padditim iha vyaktim gatanam hiya siddhanam bhuvneva bhuva sankadinam trityaha pura. Sangam bhakti rasam rahasya madhuna bhaktesu sancharyaneka so avatara vishwaguruve suddhaya tashmai namaha. So I bow down to him, Sanatana Goswami, who is the Vishwaguru, or who appeared as teacher of the Guru world. He is the one who is the third of the four Kumaras, and that is Sanatan, Sanak Sanandan Sanatan, Sanat Kumar, and showed the path of Paramhansas, that is the path of Jnanamarg. And he has appeared now as Sanatana Goswami. So, Sangam Bhakti Rasam Rahasya Madhuna Bhaktesu Sancharyan. So, to display or distribute or give the secret of Bhakti Rasa along with its links to devotees, he is manifest here. As Sanatana Goswami, I bow down to him. Vyakhya Vaishnava Toshni Prakritita Yeneva Yasya Rasaha Prapayati Chamatkriti Suhridya Na Alhadayan Bhrajate Tasmad Dvitri Kana Stadiya Mukto Ye Nishrita Swadita Tana Chitta Kritarthayani Januritya Shavari Vartime. So he is the one who manifested Vaishnava Toshni commentary on Bhāgavatam, and by the rasa of that commentary, Ati Chamatkriti Suhridyan, it made the heart of devotees Ati Chamatkrit, very, what would you say, full of wonder, by making them drink this nectar, alhadiyan vrajate, and thus it exists by giving them pleasure. Tasmad dvitri kana stadiya muktoye nishrita swadita. And I have also tasted 2-3 drops of that nectar coming out from the mouth of Sanatana Goswami. Tānācitta kritārthayāni janur ityāsha varivartini. So I am having this hope that by the tasting that, I will make my life successful. Gopal Bhatt Raghunath Padabjarenan Sri Loknath Charnanath Jiva Padan Vande Yadiya Karuna Suru Dirghikayam Snato Ghrita Ghat Harirohitam Apta aptumishe. And I bow down to the feet of Gopal Bhatt Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Loknath Goswami, and Jiva Goswami. By the grace of these personalities, I have taken dip into the Ganga or Surdirghika or lake of their grace, and thus becoming free from all sins, I wish to achieve my desired goal, which means by their grace I will be able to complete this commentary. So here also there are differences in reading. Some have dhrita dhrita tirohita maptumishe, and some have dhuta ghati tirohita maptumishe. There is not much difference in meaning. Tamaischanna drisham yairna krite bhavartha deepika krita kripalavasthetra Sridhar Swami Nogati. And my shelter is Sridhar Swami, who is very gracious, because he is the one who wrote Bhavartha Deepika to give light to those people who are blinded by the ignorance. So it is called Bhavartha Deepika. Deepika is like a lamp which illuminates the meaning of Bhāgavatam. So Sridhar Swami's commentary is actually very important to understand Bhāgavatam, because in Bhāgavatam there are so many words which you cannot understand without the help of commentary. And certain sections you can never understand anything what is going on without commentary. So therefore his commentary really shows the light. And once you get the meaning, then of course you can build on that and explain more. So therefore he has done a great service. Vyakhya lekhya tadiyaya bhakta chitta pramodani kachit prabhunam kachittu Śrīmad Kripodita. So he says that I am going to write this commentary, which is Bhakta Chitta Pramodani, which gives pleasure to the heart of the devotees by the grace of Sridhar Swami and by the grace of Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Jiva Goswami, and also by the grace of my Guru. Pranamya Sri Gurum Bhuya Sri Krishnam Karunavarnam Karnarnavam Lokanatham Jagatchakshu Sri Shukam Tamupashraye. After bowing down to my Guru and again to Sri Krishna, who is the ocean of mercy, to Sri Loknath Goswami. Loknath here can be an adjective of Krishna, or to Loknath Goswami, both ways it can be applied. Jagat Chakshu, who is the eye of the world, I take shelter of Sukadeva Goswami. So Jagat Chakshu can also be adjective of Sukadeva. Goparama Jana Prana Prayashayati Prabhushnave Tadiya Priya Dasyaya Mamadiyam Aham Dade. I surrender everything that belongs to me and myself for achieving the servitorship of the devotees of Krishna, who is very dear to the gopis, very life of the gopis, and who is supremely powerful. Dasme anukrama praptam vinodham parihayayat ashram vyakti munirat tenaidam pratipadyate. So as we know that in Bhagavatam there are 10 topics which are described. Atra sargo visargascha sthanam poshnam utaya Manvantarishanukatha Nirodha Muktir Ashraya. So these are the 10 topics which are discussed. So if we take the order, that first canto will have first topic of creation, and then second will have Visarga. So then this should be the 10th topic, which is Nirodha. Actually, Nirodha is not the 10th. Nirodha is Ashraya, because first and second cantos, they are not talking about Sarga and Visarga. So this is how Vallabhacharya explains. He says that the first and second canto, they do not describe Sarga and Visarga, rather they talk about Adhikari. I think the first is about Adhikari and second probably about the subject, and he counts from third, because there are 12 cantos and 10 topics, so he says that the third one is the Sarga and then Visarga, and then he goes on like this. So the 10th is Nirodha, 11th is Mukti, and 12th is Ashraya. This is how he explains. But Jiva Goswami does not agree to that. So this comes, I think, in Tattva Sandarbha itself. So he is also making that Dashme Anukram Praptam Nirodham Parihayat. So he says that Sukadeva Goswami giving up the Nirodha, which is the 10th one, because the logic behind this is also that Sukadeva Goswami, he appears in the second canto, right? And then he lists the 10 topic in the last chapter of second canto. In second canto there are 10 chapters, and in the very first verse of 10th chapter, this is what he says, Yatra Sargo Visargascha Sthanam Poshnamute. And then he defines what is Sarga, what is Visarga, Manvantari, Shanukatha, Poshan, all this. And that is the end of second canto. Then he starts from third canto, and third canto there is a description of Sarga, creation and so on. So this is how Vallabhacharya applies it. So from that it looks like that he should be describing now Nirodha. So he says that Sukadeva Goswami giving up Nirodha, which was available according to the order of description, he describes Ashraya here. So that's what he is mentioning here. That Dasame Anukram Praptam Nirodham. That what is coming or what is available directly by order is Nirodha. So Nirodha means Pralaya or closing up. So giving up that Parihayat Ashrayam Vyaktim Munirat. That Munirat, the chief of the Munis, Sukadeva Goswami, he describes the Ashraya Tattva, the 10th one, the shelter, which is Krishna. Tena idam pratipadyate. So therefore this is being now stated here. So he shows logic and also shows how Bhāgavatam is like the body of Krishna. So Prathamaha Pīṭhtam Skandhadvayam Charan Yugmatam Chaturdati Kati Nabhi Vaksho Dor Yugam Kanthatam Dvadash Ekadasham Shirsh Bhaladitvam Agat Kramat Śrīmad-Bhāgavata Krishnasya Dasmo Manju Hashyata. So he says that the first canto is the Pitha, like his asana, the throne on which Krishna is sitting. It's like if you keep the book In the olden time they used to have this wooden thing that is called pitha. So that is the first canto. And second canto is the 2 feet, second and third. So skandha dvayam charana yugumatam. So second canto and third canto are 2 feet of Krishna. And chaturthadi katinabhi. Then fourth canto is like the hip area. Fifth is the navel area. Sixth is the chest. And seventh and eighth are the 2 arms. And ninth is the throat. And 11th and 12th canto are his forehead and head. And 10th is his face with beautiful smile. So, therefore, it cannot be the... So he says, just as after face there has to be something above, so like that after this there are 2 cantos. Dheya sarvang mukhyam yadhasyam nantayasya sanstiti yatha tadashraya skandho naivante sthatum arhati. So he says that the feet, the face is the chief thing, sarvang mukhyam yadhasyam, which is the object of meditation. And there is nothing beyond that. You start meditating from the feet and everything, and then ultimate thing which you meditate is on the face. So it says, Dheya sarvanga mukhyam yadhasyam nantayasya sanstiti yatha tatha ashraya skandho naivante sthatum arhati. But face is not the last part of the body, there is something else. So similarly he says there should be 2 more cantos after this. That's the logic he is giving. अतः 10वें ब्रह्म परमात्मादि नाम भाग आश्रयो वर्ण्यते कृष्णो नवलक्षण लक्षितः. Therefore in this 10th canto, the Ashraya Tattva, who is also called Brahma, Paramatma, Ishvara and so on, and who is ultimately Krishna, he is being described, and he is Navalakshana Lakshita. So he is the one who is indicated or described by the other 9 things. So Dasmasya Visuddhi Artham Navanami Lakshanam Kathyanti Mahatmana Shrutena Arthena Chanjasa. So Sukadeva Goswami says earlier in 2nd canto, 10th chapter, 2nd verse. So he says, Dasmasya Vishuddhi Artham Navanamiha Lakshanam. That these 9 topics, Sarga, Visarga, etc., they are described to make us understand the 10th, which is the Ashraya. And Varnayanti Mahatmana Shrutena Arthena Chansa. Therefore the great personality describe them sometimes directly, Shruti, sometimes Arthena, and sometimes Anjasa by Vyanjana. So that is what he is saying, Navalakshana Lakshita. That the purpose of other 9 items is also to understand Krishna. Because this question comes, what is the purpose of describing all this structure of the universe in the 5th canto, which is always a problematic thing. Because no one really understands it. So its purpose is just to explain to us the greatness of Krishna, that he is so great that all these things are, which are so vast, the way they are being described, that it is nothing but just a speck of his energy. So that Krishna is being described here in 10th canto. So we have to keep this in mind, so that we don't make the mistake that why now Krishna is behaving like a very lusty person. Now this person who is creating all this thing, you think he is going to be lusty after a girl, right? Narayan Rishi, Indra sent these apsaras to disturb them. So when he saw them, he smiled and he created Urvasi from his thigh. He says, "Le, chalo." You can take her and give it to Indra. So what is the problem for him? He can create millions of apsaras. So that is not the point. Therefore we have to understand what is the intention of the speaker. So Shrutena Arthena Chanjasa. So people sometimes say everything has to be taken literally. Where is it said that it should not be taken literally? This is where Sukadeva Goswami says, Shrutena Arthena Chanjasa. So it is not always literal only. So we have to study Bhāgavatam with this intention. We have to understand. It is not that you pick out one part and then start describing it without understanding its relationship. There has to be sangati. So samanvaya, tattva samanvayat. So the book has a purpose. This has a prayojana. Therefore in the very beginning this Anubandha Chatushtaya is explained. So Siddhartham Siddha Sambandham Slotam Slota Pravartate. So therefore Anubandha Chatushtaya should be spoken in the very beginning. So we have to understand that Anubandha Chatushtaya, and people don't study all these things, they don't understand, and then they start arguing, and then we have to break our head to answer them. So we have to study a book systematically. And most important is to understand what is the intention, Vaktu Tatparya. So Vaktur Ichchatu Tatparyam. What is his Tatparya? What is he wants to speak? So that we have to see in the very beginning of the book. At the end of Kramupsanghara, Abhyasa Upuruta Phalam, Arthvada Uppatticha, Shadlingam Tatparya Nirnaya. So how to decide the Tatparya? We have to have this Shadalinga, and with that we try to understand. Otherwise we are just running here and there and bringing out all these meanings, like this 5th canto problem. So it is not a book of astronomy, certainly. So the Krishna therefore here is called as Navalakshana Lakshita, that who is described or who is explained, who is informed, who is indicated by the 9 lakshanas of Sarga, Visarga, Sthana, Poshana, Mutaya, all this. So that Sarga, the 5th canto, is also part of creation. This is his creation. His creation is not just the process of creation, but what is created. So all this is description of his energy, and its purpose is to know Krishna. Otherwise, try to figure out where is the Sumeru mountain. You'll never find it.
Babaji,
हाँ जी.
the now Lakshita, is it saying that like all the cantos are describing Krishna, or is
Yes.
it that whatever is described about him is in 9 ways?
Yeah, it is all Krishna. It is only Krishna which is being described. Atya anuvarnate sarvato Bhagavan Hari. Atya anuvarnate bhikshnam sarvato Bhagavan Hari. Only Hari is being described in all ways, in different manner. Because Hari is not just who is playing flute, he has so many features. He is also the creator, he is also the maintainer, he is also the destroyer, he is also the one who gives his grace to his devotees. So all this is being described here.
So when we did in this ninth canto, like these stories of Devyani, Sarmishtha and all these dynasties, how are they indicating Krishna?
How are they indicating? Because they are also part of Krishna only. They are living beings. Mamaivanso Jivaloka Jivbhuta Sanatana, and they are conditioned, and this is how conditioned being work. This is how material energy works. This is how human mind works. So that's why I'm saying Bhagavan is not just the way you think that he is playing flute. He also has his Bahiranga Shakti. And Bahiranga Shakti manifests in so many ways. And then he has Tatastha Shakti. And Tatastha Shakti being conditioned by Bahiranga acts in so many different ways. So that's what is being described. So that is all part of him only.
Thank you, Prabhu.
So Ishanuvarti Nam Ambarishadinam Kathodita Navme Dasme Shakshad Isha Shev Kathochate. So he says that in the ninth canto we read stories of kings like Ambarisha, who is a great devotee of Krishna. And now here in 10th we will have directly the story of Krishna himself. In other words, the stories of devotees were described earlier. We read stories of Prahlad, Dhruva, Ambarish, and other devotees. Many of these other kings were also devotees, although they are not portrayed as very great devotees. But they are devotees, like Ranti Deva, we read his story, or Shibi, or Ushinar. So, or even Kartavira Arjun, he was devotee of Dattatreya. So they are all devotees, their stories have been described. In case of Ambarish, it is very clear-cut mentioned, because he engaged all his body, mind, speech, his possessions in the service. So therefore he says that earlier the stories of devotees were being described. In between there are also stories of various avatars which came. Vaman Dev came, Nrsimha Dev, Varaha Avatar, Matsya, Kurma, Mohini Avatar also came, Parshuram. And now Swam Bhagavan is being described. So that is the 10th, because he is the ashraya of everything. So Sakshad Ishasya, the Isha who is directly the Isha, not someone's avatar. So Isvara Parama Krishna, Satchidananda Vigraha. So it is he who is being described here. Sacha Ishva Gopa Eva Krishna Purnatamo Vraje Puradvaye Purnatara Purna Kshatriya Uchyate. So Krishna also has his 3 places in his Leela. He has his Leela in Vraja, in Mathura and in Dwarka. So he manifests his pastimes differently in these 3 places, and there is a gradation. So he is Purnatama in Vraja, the most perfect or most complete, and then Purnatara in Mathura and Purna in Dwarka. So he will be described here. So Gopa eva Krishna Purnatama Vraja. Krishna as Gopa, as a cowherd boy, He is the Purnatama, most perfect, and Puradvaya Purnatara Purna Kshatriya Uchyate. In other two places, he is a Kshatriya, and is Purnatara and Purna. एवं स्थलस्य त्रैविध्यात् लीलास्य त्रिविधोदिता बाल्यादि तत्तदालंबी भक्त भेदात् सहस्रधा. So in this way his places are three where he lived and performed his pastime: Vraj, Mathura and Dwarka. And therefore his Leela, his pastimes are also of three types, and he performed his pastimes as a child, as Poganda, as Kashora. These primarily three. And according to the various devotees, his relationship with his parents, with his friends, with his gopis, wives, children, then relatives like Pandavas, brotherly relationship. So he says, therefore his pastimes are of hundreds and hundreds of types, based on his age, his place, and his devotees. So there is so much variety. And now he summarizes, because there are 90 chapters in 10th canto. So he gives a summary of his age, what is being described here. Adyahi Panchbhir Adhyayir Janma Prasangiko Katha. In the first 5 chapters, the story of his birth is being described. How he appeared, he was born in prison, then he was carried. In between there are prayers of the Devas. Then when he was born, the prayers of Devaki and Vasudeva, and then killing of Putana, I think, comes in the 6th chapter. The festival which was celebrated by Nanda Maharaj, and all this comes in the first 5 chapters. So Janma Chasya Tato Balya-līlā Navbhirita. So these are the birth, and then his Balya-līlā, his childhood pastimes, they are described in 9 chapters. So first 5, then 9. So then up to 14th, where Brahma is praying to him, Brahma Mohan Leela. And Shadbhi Paganda Leelanta Kashora Ras Charchita Tatah Kashor Leela Unvinstya Vrajamandale. Then in the 6 chapters, his Paganda Leela is being described. So that means up to 20th chapter. So he goes for Gocharan. And Kashora Ras Charchita. So this is already imbued with Kashora Rasa. And then after that, in 19th chapter, description of his Kashora Leela, Vrajamandala. So that will make how many? 420 and 39. And then Ekena Stuti Akrura Kritai Ekadas Bhistata. Then one chapter is when Akrura takes him to Mathura. So that is 40 chapters. And then Krita Ekadas Bhistata Leela Syan Mathuri. And then in 11 chapters there is description of his Mathura Leela. And then after that Dwarka Leela comes. So 51 chapters Mathura, and then rest 39 Dwarka Leela. So in this way we have 90 chapters. तदेवं 10वें अध्याये 9व्या वर्णिता हरेः लीला नित्य किशोरस्य निखिलाकर्षणी क्षितौ. So in this way, in the 10th canto, in 19 chapters, there is description of Hari's Leela, who is Nitya Kishora. Means he does not age beyond Kishora, which is whatever, 15, 16 years. And this is how he manifested on earth. Tatra tu prathame Shrotri Vaktra Ragati Madhuri Devagya Kashavak Kansa Devakya Shatsuta Tyaya. And now he summarizes the first chapter, which he is going to write now. He says there, out of these 90 chapters, in the first chapter, there is Shrotri Vaktra Ragati Madhuri. So there is description of the sweetness of the hearer and the speaker, so that how they talk with each other and how they relish. And then there is description of the order of Lord to the Devas to come and take birth on earth. And then there is this voice from the sky which Kamsa hears, that 8th son of Devaki will kill him. And then there is a description of killing of 6 sons of Devaki in this chapter. So that will all come in the first chapter of Bhāgavatam. So now he will start commenting on the first verse. We'll read that tomorrow.
Babaji, question: did entire Bhagavatam written by Vishwanath Chakravarti was in Vrindavan or is other places?
Radhakund.
It was all in Radhakund.
Yeah, he writes it himself in the end, that I'm writing it at the bank of Radhakund. That's where he wrote.
No, yesterday we studied that he wrote these things on Radhakund, but I wasn't sure the entire Bhagavatam was written in Radhakund, staying in Radhakund.
Yeah, everything there.
Thank you.
Babaji, I have a question. This is Tanmay Krishnadas.
Bole.
In the 10th canto, you said that there is 51 chapters on Rāsa-līlā. Seems like there are far fewer chapters on the good stuff.
No, I didn't say 51. He said that Rāsa-līlā is 39.
Okay, maybe I'm confused.
He said that 40th chapter is where Akrura takes, right? And then there are 11 more chapters in Mathura-līlā. And then from 52 onwards is Dwarka.
Okay, but it just seems that the majority of chapters are on the Dwarka-līlā and not on Vrindavan.
But how long did he live in Vrindavan? Just think of that. Out of 125 years, how many years he spent in Vrindavan? 11. Still there are so many chapters. It's 39 out of 90. So it's disproportionate.
Okay, that's more satisfying. Thank you.
I would be also interested in hearing more of the context in which Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur wrote his commentary. Did he write this work after he has written all his other literature, or was this rather an early work of him? Was he like an old age or like afraid if he would make it or not, like Kaviraj Goswami when he is writing the Chaitanya Charitamrita, or
Well, he writes the date at the end, so probably you can check that. At the end of his commentary, in the Pushpika, he writes when did he complete it. So you can compare it with some other works. Somebody must have, if you probably read that Vaishnava Vidhan by, what is his name, Haridas Das. I think he would give the, I'm sure some other people also must have done research on this. But there doesn't seem to be any anxiety like this. That is, he will not complete. He lived quite a long life, about 100 years.
Babaji, can we say that
Actually, I was reading that he has already written few books before he came to Vrindavan. This Ujjalnin Manikiran and Bhāgavatam Kana and Bhakti-rasamrita Sindhu Bindu, that he wrote them even before he came to Vrindavan.
Did he come from which area to Vrindavan? He's from Bengal also?
Yeah, Murshidabad, Bengal.
Babaji, can we say that at the beginning of this 10th canto, it is like Mangalacharan, but then Mangalacharan is normally at the beginning of the book.
Mangalacharan is beginning and in between. Mangalado, Mangal Madhye, Mangalante, Purusha Prathante. There is a statement like this from Mahabhashya. Adhaitarasya, I don't remember the whole statement, but it says that you do Mangal in the beginning, in the end, in the middle. So there is no restriction of doing Mangal. Okay, we'll stop.